the lesson plan he actually has put before us. Okay, so it's great. What I like in particular is that you have to do something that's going to incite your students. Anytime you're introducing a new lesson to your students, oftentimes they may find it kind of mundane or boring. So you have to make a statement that's going to interest the student. Now, what Mr. Freeman has done is in his notes, he has asked the question, basically, how would you like to make a $20 haircut a $25 to $30 haircut? Now, those who are interested in the field of barbering or any type of hair industry that's taking your course, clearly the bottom line is to make money. Of course, we don't make our clients happy, so on and so forth. So now we'll move on. He has his introduction, as you can see earlier, when we actually put the camera on the lesson plan. And his introduction is basically what it is. It's just introducing the new lesson or the new subject matter to the students. Now, during your introduction, it may, as it states here, it says a hot lather shave is one way to make your clients feel relaxed and special. It gives them the impression that they are a priority to you, in which will keep them coming back. So what is he talking about? He's talking about not only recruiting a client, but once you get that client, you need to do something that's going to retain that client, to keep that client coming back. So that's real good. So then, of course, then he starts to talk about the money aspect of it. We could all use more money in our pocket. The most important part of the hot lather shave is you and your client's safety. So, perfect. Because when you go to state board, they're going to look for safety and sanitation. That's primary. That is key. Safety and sanitation is key. So always keep that in mind. Then he goes on to the lesson. Well, the second objective is how to perform a hot lather shave using proper techniques and strokes. Now, at this particular time, I probably would have a razor somewhere present so that they can see exactly what type of tool that we're going to be using, along with my other supplies, if you will. Okay? At this point, I would probably ask my students, do we have any questions? So let's just kind of play this back real quick. Okay? So I'm going to pause you. We're going to come back. I'm going to start my lesson. Good morning, class. I'm Mr. Freeman. I will be your instructor today, and we will be covering straight razor shaving. Now, how many of you have ever either experienced a straight razor shave or has actually given a straight razor shave? Now, at this point, I am basically working my crowd. I'm working around the room. I'm not standing in one spot. I'm walking around, just kind of getting the feel of my students as well. Okay? Okay. Oh, wow. Quite a few of you, by show of hands, I see. Okay, great. Well, let me ask you, Johnny. Johnny, when did you first experience a hot lather shave? Great. So Johnny says he experienced one when he turned 17. He got his first shave. So did your barber use the hot towels and so on and so forth? Oh, awesome. Then we may get you to teach the class. Johnny said that his barber used the hot lather shave by using a latherizer. He used a straight razor, used all the towels, used the different types of oils and things of that nature. Okay, so that's great. So we do at least have one person in here that has actually experienced it. Anyone else, have you actually ever watched the straight razor shave? Okay. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. We have a few people to say they actually watched one. All right. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to teach you all how to basically take that basic haircut, that basic service that some of you may be charging $15, maybe even $20, $25, I'm not sure. I'm going to teach you how to take that service and take it over that particular mark and double your money, okay? So if you're doing $15, I'll teach you how to make $30 with that same client. Do you have any questions? Okay, good. So upon completing this lesson today, and today I'm just going to introduce the lesson to you. Tomorrow we'll cover how to actually perform the hot lather shave, make sure that we understand how to lather the face, how to choose the right razor, how to hold the right, not the right one, but how to hold a razor. And of course, understand that all people may not be able to receive this particular service. So now that's going to take place in our client consultation. Okay, that's a part of my lesson plan that I should have on here. Okay, so my first part is to introduce. My second part, I probably would add my client consultation. Okay, any questions? No questions? Okay, cool. All right, then, of course, I've already kind of got my students interested by the money aspect of it. Sometimes you can use money, sometimes you can use client retention, sometimes you can use client recruiting. So that can take place with referrals and so on and so forth, just whatever you choose to do. Now, on your lesson plan, you're also going to have your student materials, so students need to know up front what do they need to be successful in this particular class. And then, of course, you as an educator, you need to have all your supplies that you need to properly administer this lesson listed on your lesson plan as well. Then you want to add vocabulary, okay? Mr. Freeman has added his vocabulary piece to it, and that is something that you can kind of use throughout your lesson, or you can have a allocated part of your lesson to just cover the vocabulary. That's up to you. Now, the part of the lesson plan, if you look back, part of the lesson plan that Mr. Freeman did not add, and which I'm going to turn the camera around here. Just give me a second. Okay, as you can see, he actually does not have the outline piece. Okay, you definitely want to have your outline. See, that would have been page 2. And basically, page 2, you can do it Roman number 1, or you can do letter A. It doesn't matter. But when you do that, the first letter or number should be in the outline format, and it should be introduction. In that, you have all the pieces that you're going to cover in class. Then for instance, if you have Roman number 1, you would then turn around and put just the regular 1 or A. A would be the first topic. And basically, your outline is just kind of inciting you what you need to talk about. Because, again, you are the subject matter expert. You may not have to read this stuff verbatim. A lot of times you will just talk off the top of your head, but you will have your notes present. So let's put you on pause again. Okay, hopefully you got the opportunity to kind of look at the lesson plan and see what I was talking about. I'll later give you a more completed one, and that should have been done in the previous lesson. So if you still have copies of that, you'll still see that we do have the outline format. Okay, don't want to present it right now because we don't have the same information. So after you actually go over your whole entire lesson, sometimes it may take a day, sometimes it may take a week. It just depends. But he has a time allotted 20 minutes. So his lesson will cover 20 minutes for this particular day. But now if this is stretched out over a week's period, he may also add this lesson will, in his time allotted, he may put 2 weeks at the class time interval. So if it's a 20-minute class, it'll be 20 minutes. If it's a 60-minute class, then 60 minutes. Okay? So throughout your lesson, you always want to pause and ask if there are any questions before you move on to any kind of new material. And then if they don't ask you any questions, you may want to ask your students some questions. So now let's just say we completed the entire lesson. We're in our summary piece. Now when you summarize your lesson, it may sound like this. Okay, class, in summary, we've talked about the hot lather shave in its entirety. We talked about how to create more wealth or more money for yourself. We've talked about safety. We've talked about how to lather the face properly, how to hold a razor, and you'll go through those, basically talk about what you already talked about. Now, there may be some highlighted pieces because now, of course, you're back in a Q&A session. So do anyone have any questions on how to properly lather the face? I noticed a few of you were kind of a little frigidly about that. Did we get clear on that? So if they say yes, then you're fine. If they say no, then you may want to do a quick little, not a review per se, but just a quick little illustration so that the students can get that visual. Oftentimes, barbers and stylists are more visual or kinesthetics, hands-on type learners. Okay, and keep in mind, you may have different types of learning styles within your classroom. So Always keep that in mind. So you want to have various types of learning tools to use throughout your lesson, be it hands-on, be it visual, be it audio, whatever the case may be. You might want to add some type of technology in as well. Okay, so now that you've covered all that, you've covered your Q&A, questions and so on and so forth, you'll still end it again with, just to clarify, you can use what we call a ticket out of the door, just maybe just putting a question out there just to see if they actually retained any of the information. It's a form of assessment, but you're not really testing the entire lesson, but just kind of getting the feel. Then you also want to give your students some type of follow-up assignment, if need be. It could be, in the form of a homework, whatever, vocabulary, reading assignment. It could be even just having them to go someplace and observe this particular lesson. We talked about hot lather shaving, so it could be that. And at that point, you'll come back that next day and you'll begin your lesson as such. Okay, class, on yesterday we covered the introduction to hot lather shaving. Do we have any questions on what we covered yesterday before we move forward into actually going through the steps on how to perform the shave? There are no questions, then you move forward. If there are questions, then of course you entertain the questions. You're not trying to reteach the lesson unless it's absolutely necessary. Hopefully that's been pretty good coverage on that, and we'll take some time. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, or you can type them in. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. We'll do a few more of these. Mr. Freeman, you did a great job on your lesson plan. You just now need to go ahead a step further into utilizing your outline. And once you do one or two of those, you can use the same format for state board purposes. It's just a matter of plugging in. All right, so that concludes. I'm going to have a little choppiness going on with the upload, but just bear with me on that. Hopefully everything else went well. Again, talk with you later. This is Professor V, and I'm out.